the dilemma that we face is that we, besides like having the same skin color, we are at a point where we don't share the same values, and we lack a unifying force that can bring us together. When you look at the biggest black achievements, in the history of the U.S., let's say going back to the civil rights movement in the 60s, there were voices that could speak, and everybody pauses and listens. Everybody in the community pauses and listens. So today, who are those voices?
We have a deficit of leadership.
Yes. So we're in that dilemma where I think even as black people, we need to sit together, and try to figure out, where can we find a commonality. For example, the way white people would sit together and they decide, we don't like immigration. We have different issues as white people, but we don't like immigration, and they come together behind the aspect that they don't like immigration.
Okay. But there's a bit of a dilemma there, though. So the Democratic Party set itself up, as you were saying, it already set itself up for failure at the polls, and they were just really, really lucky that in 2020 they had a really seasoned and trusted a voice in Joe Biden.
Politician.
So people voted for the Democratic Party because of Biden, not because of the policies of the party itself.
Yeah.
What they did, which is I think what you're echoing here, is they embraced very liberal social doctrines and social policies or cultural policies that, while the country generally agrees that all of us are made equal in the eyes of God, most sensible Americans agree that what a woman does with their body is a decision they should be making between them and their doctor. Most Americans agree that we have some people who have different orientations in terms of their gender or their sexual preferences. So most rational Americans agree and accept that. But then central to the issues that people bring to the ballot box are the problems that they're facing every day, not the social issues. They're facing problems with, their ability to pay for groceries or to pay for gas. Those are the daily struggles of money in the pocket, common jobs, Americans. So when you forget that, Mika, I kind of agree with you only to the extent that we are unique demographic that has heavily invested in the party, but Trump wasn't made president by black people. He was made president by Americans who have.
I didn't say he was made president by black people. I said the Democratic Party.
No, I'm saying I'm agreeing with you. By the way, I'm agreeing with you. All I'm saying is, it is a wide swath of the population, black, white, Latino, of different orientations, different religious groups who are having the same struggles. The middle class is being stretched, right? And the Democratic Party, instead of focusing on those issues, it's one of those cases where it's the opposite of shooting the messenger. We just had the message wrong.
But the dilemma.
I agree with that.
I think the dilemma.
So it doesn't matter who you're selling that message to. They're going to shoot the messenger.
I think the dilemma also that black people still face, and this is now black people. I'm including black descendants of slaves and black African and Caribbean immigrants. The dilemma that we face is that we, besides having the same skin color, we are at a point where we don't share the same values, and we lack a unifying force that can bring us together. When you look at the biggest black achievements, in the history of the U.S., let's say going back to the civil rights movement in the 60s, there were voices that could speak, and everybody pauses and listens. Everybody in the community pauses and listens. So today, who are those voices?
We have a deficit of leadership.
Yes, who are those voices?
And Ali, there's something you said. Let me just interject that before I forget this. The other thing that has actually happened is that the Democratic Party has, they used to say the Republican Party has left us, because Republicans actually primarily used to be very, Africans, African Americans, people of black descent. For the most part, used to mostly espouse Republican principles because of the sort of conservative family values. Then the party became so radical and right wing.
Then they left.
And the same thing has happened with the Democratic Party. They've become so focused on left wing policies because there's a strong presence by like leaders like Pelosi and that crew, who have drawn the party so far left. It has also now left people of
where
color,
it originally stood.
Where it originally stood. So you're kind of left in this political purgatory.
Danged if I do, danged if I don't.
Danged if I do. So all you think about is, what? Rather than suffer the brunt of poverty, I'd rather suffer insults from the Republicans.
So we're in that dilemma where I think even
very interesting.
Even as black people, we need to sit together, and try to figure out, where can we find a commonality. For example, the way white people would sit together and they decide we don't like immigration. We have different issues as white people, but we don't like immigration, and they come together behind the aspect that they don't like immigration.
We're having a lot of too much political correctness. It's like, and it's like Democrats have made it to a point whereby they're pussyfooting around. It's like you cannot live this world in a way whereby you don't want to annoy or make anybody angry. There's never something there's nobody who can live like that you just want to please everybody in the world. You cannot live like that. And unfortunately, that's what the Democratic Party has become these days in terms of policies. You want to please people with so many things that actually turn around and are easy to shoot you down. Student loan forgiveness is a very good thing to run on. Very, very good thing. But quite well judges are going to put you in problems. You're not going to implement it completely as everything that it is. And a lot of me speaking to a lot of young college students or people who just cleared college recently, they were like, you see, the problem is like, we're not saying he hasn't forgiven some student loans, but he promised us he's going to forgive all of us. So why did he promise us that? And he knew it was going to be fought against him, right? Things like LGBTQ rights. Yes, we understand these are people, but then how many people have been fighting for rights? Black people have been fighting for their rights. Disabled people have been fighting for their rights. Other minority Muslims have been fighting for their rights. You cannot just take one person and push them in the elections every time. And guess what? Makes it easier for Republicans to attack you. You've just had that spiritual comment that was written there by a listener right now. If you listen to that and you want to massage your moral ego, you listen to that and go with that. Because she mentioned abortion, she mentioned LGBTQ. She didn't go to the inside depths of it. Democrats assume that all people who are Democrats are well educated, or they assume that it's just well educated people in the country who can go into the intricacies of these issues. No, politics is about selling your policies in the simplest, easiest term that relates to the ground. Those are the people who are going to vote. Those are the people who are going to make you win. The people in higher echelons of society watakusaidia tu kuongea, but do they vote? Hii tumeona kila mahali, even in Kenya. It's the people who shall go mashinani ndo piga kura. Watu wa town piga kelele Twitter. Same thing with here. We will post pictures. We've gone to rallies. We were filling out rallies like nobody's business. Then election day, we don't have people in the polls.